Cocktail History with the Freeborn County Historical Museum, Library, and Village. I'm Stephanie Kibler, Executive Director with Rachel Lilienthal, whose title I keep changing.
Yeah.
I think this week you are the Director of Collections and
That's what
Exhibits.
you put on my ID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's go with that. It's all good. It's all good. It is Fair Week.
Yes.
And we're celebrating in the village, which we love. And it's a beautiful day. Weather has been fantastic. And we just decided there was no better way to celebrate our agricultural history than by making a haymaker. Yeah. So the cocktail today is the Haymaker. I do want to give a quick shout out to Paul Anderson, longtime volunteer, who was inducted into the Freeborn County Agriculture Hall of Fame yesterday. So, whoop, whoop, whoop. So a haymaker. Yes. So many fun little silly things. A punch delivered with great force, especially one that results in a knockout. Any powerful blow, literally or figuratively.
Oh, so like an emotional blow could be a haymaker.
He gave him the old haymaker when he got in his face. Hit the hay. Go to bed. Make hay of, to throw into confusion. I like that one. Make hay while the sun shines.
What's that?
Take full advantage of the opportunity.
Oh.
Roll in the hay.
Yeah.
We aren't going to cover that one. But initially, the Haymaker came out of Haymaker's Punch. It's kind of a twist on, so it's a newer drink actually on Haymaker's Punch, which was Switchel, Switzel, Swizzle, Switchy. And it's a, I was laughing when I was looking at this. It's a drink made of water mixed with vinegar and often seasoned with ginger. And a lot of times then they'd add molasses, sometimes honey or sugar. In Vermont, they'd add oatmeal and lemon juice to it. Switchel, they think originated in the Caribbean, although New England holds credit. It became a popular summer drink in the American colonies.
Okay.
And was used late 17th century into the 19th century.
Well, like you said, it was a punch, right? That's about that time that was really...
It doesn't sound like a very tasty punch. I'm just gonna...
I'm trying to picture the oatmeal.
Yeah, I don't know that. But water, molasses, apple cider vinegar, and fresh ginger. I think of kombucha.
Yeah, it sounds medicinal.
Which I'm not a kombucha fan. And it was a little medicinal because they... So it would be taken out to the farmers who were haying, making hay, and they would drink it until they were full, and it would keep them hydrated. For a longer period of time than just say, a gallon of water.
Right.
So Herman Melville, I knew the name, but I had to look that up. Do you know who that is?
That sounds familiar.
Moby Dick.
Oh,
Author of Moby Dick, American novelist, short story writer, and poet of the American Renaissance period. Herman Melville wrote in I and My Chimney, I will give a traveler a cup of switchel if he wants it, but am I bound to supply him with a sweet taste? In The Long Winter by Laura Ingalls Wilder, you know who that is.
Yeah. That one, yeah.
Describes a switchel-like beverage that her mother, which I think is interesting they said mother, because really it's Ma, that Ma had sent for Laura and her father to drink while haying.
Ma and Pa.
Ma and Pa. Ma had sent them ginger water. She had sweetened the cool well water with sugar, flavored it with vinegar, and put in plenty of ginger to warm their stomachs so they could drink till they were not thirsty. Ginger water would not make them sick as plain cold water would when they were so hot. So that's kind of where Haymaker is coming from. A Vermont physician, D.C. Jarvis, best known for his writings on folk medicine, recommended a similar drink, a mixture of honey and cider vinegar, which he called Honegar.
That sounds Nordic.
Maybe it was. I don't know. And then the other funny thing I thought was every pitmaster needs a good drink to cool down after a hot day manning the fire. So in Mississippi, they created a Haymaker. That's according to Side Chef magazine. Pitmaster. So that pitmaster over there may need a good drink to cool down.
Uh-huh. Should we make one?
Let's make one. I know you get. Okay, so the first step, slow your roll. First step is, I'm going to slide this. First step is our glasses.
Oh, with sugar.
With sugar. So we're doing a little lime. It said to use water. A little lime.
Yeah, lime's better.
And we're using raw sugar because it just looks so much nicer. So that's the first.
Cool.
Then we're going to take 3/4 ounces of bourbon.
3/4?
You can do it. This would be bourbon. Sorry. That would be the bourbon. You can do it.
That sounded so good. I loved that one.
Really?
Yes.
That surprises me.
Okay. It didn't need any ice in there?
It didn't say ice yet.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, the vermouth. Then you're gonna do. Oh, where'd my recipe go? Sorry. I got the wrong recipe up.
Just 3/4 for 2 of us?
No, well, that's one. So 3/4 each. You're gonna mix them together. You can. There's plenty of room.
So
You can.
that's 1.5?
That would be
Or
1.5.
I already did 3/4.
I'm giving it as it's written.
Whoop. There. Okay.
So then we're going to do 3/4 ounce sweet vermouth each. So another 1.5 ounces of sweet vermouth. We got Hornets.
That's this one, right?
That's the sweet vermouth.
Okay.
And then 1/4 ounce each of Cointreau. So a 1/2 ounce of Cointreau total.
Ooh. Ooh, that's new.
That's new. And then you're going to take that little lime slice and squeeze the rest of that lime juice in there. Sorry if it's got a little
With sugar.
Sorry if it's got a little sugar on it.
Okay.
And then it says to add the ice.
I did wash my hands before coming outside.
This is Country Living Magazine's recipe.
Okay.
And then shake until chilled, 10 to 15 seconds, and then you strain it into the glasses.
Okay.
Dinner and a show. One of these days I'm going to give her a lesson on properly shaking.
Oh, is there a proper way?
Well, that's not it, I can tell you that. Yeah.
Oh, the... Okay. And then pour 'em?
pour them in the glasses.
All right.
Not a very big drink. It's almost like a Sazerac size, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing it's a sipper.
You think?
Oh, that's pretty good.
That's very good. Okay.
Right.
This one has me nervous. I like bourbon, but sometimes these are a little much. Oh, smells good.
Ooh,
It's kind of weird.
I like it. I like
It's
it a
different. I don't know if I like it.
lot. I like it.
Okay. So normally this is where I say, what do you got?
Yeah.
Because you do the Freeborn County history piece. So I'm going to let you do that.
Okay, and
But
then you're going to add?
I have some really great Freeborn County stuff that actually then ties into Waseca County and New Richland and Steele County and the Orphanage Museum.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So I think it's a throwdown on history.
I think I have a couple of little tidbit stuff today.
Okay.
So mine's not a big, cool, overarching. It's just a couple of interesting little pockets of stuff.
Let's hear 'em.
Yeah. So in our 1882 book that we have, it's really cool. There are a couple of different...
Which is for sale in our gift shop, by the way.
Yep. But we have a couple of different instances in that book that they mention hay. And
Sure we do.
Of course,
Sure we
it's
do.
the Haymaker. And so one of them is talking about how people would set up like their place in like on land and like claim it, you know?
Yeah.
And one of the writers said that one of the serious drawbacks towards the development of Freeborn County, also a curse met with in all parts of the West, was the speculator. He said he came not as an actual settler, but for the specific object of proving up, or setting up on a piece of land and selling it for what he could get, or holding it for the future development of that county to bring a good price in. And so he said it was a super fraud, and people...
Speculator.
Yes. And they ended up making laws to kind of combat that.
Sure.
And one was that if you did prove up, if you were proving up, you had to have a witness sign off to say that you were actually going to homestead there. Like this was going to be your home. And you had to have a house on at least a half an acre under cultivation too. And it couldn't be sold or claimed away within like a year at least.
So those were like the original land grabbers.
Right, yeah. Back in the early,
1800,
yeah, the late 1800s.
1840s.
And one thing that people would do to get around that, to continue being the speculator, was they would buy that land and then put up like posts, about 4 posts, and put hay on top as a roof. And so that was their house.
That was their house?
Yeah. So that was one way they used hay to claim land.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and
as you were saying that, I'm thinking it's kind of cool because in our background we've got the first log home built in Freeborn County.
Well, and this was happening up through the 1860s in this county. They in Shell Rock Township, one of the first settlers there had their first summer spent in a hay shanty. So that's what they built to live in their home.
Wouldn't that be miserable? The bugs.
In the summer, the heat, and just sticky too. The next one I have is about G.A. Olson Manufacturing Company. And he was a person from Riceland Township here. And he invented the hay sling here in Freeborn County. And then he made the G.A. Olson Manufacturing Company and would sell it.
Question.
Yes?
So the Olson Manufacturing down on Broadway.
Yeah.
Is that related?
I don't know. I don't know what it turned into.
That's
I only
a homework
have
assignment.
It is. I only have the early 1900s version of this.
Oh.
But he began to make a few for his neighbors in 1898. And then in 1899, he made patterns for how to make it yourself.
Okay.
And then in 1900, he made a patent for the common sense sling. So that was the hay sling, which was like, it's just common sense to use it. Anybody can use this. And he patented it and started selling it. And then he kept on growing his company up through the early 1900s. And he made the advanced bay carriers, common sense hay slings, the advanced litter carriers, roller bearing pulleys, steel track, and a couple of different other supplies for farmers in the area.
Wow.
Yeah, so he kind of grew his business up and was a big supplier.
And so I'm going to make the assumption as we are doing our agriculture exhibit in the Red Barn that he will be incorporated.
Yes, I would say so.
Awesome.
Yeah. The last one I really have, other than saying that hay was specifically mentioned as being a good crop for Freeborn Township and Mansfield Township. Both were specifically mentioned as being really good hay producers in the lowlands.
They were the haymakers.
They were the
of that
haymakers. But talking about Mansfield, the first settlers in Mansfield were the Tunnel brothers, John and Henry. They came from Illinois and Iowa, and in 1856 was when they arrived in June, and they brought 100 head of cattle.
Wow.
And shortly after their arrival, they put up hay and secured enough to carry them safely through the winter. You know, so they had their stock for the winter of hay. But a prairie fire happened and destroyed their stores. And
I feel like I have a hornet in my shirt.
Oh no!
Sorry. Dancing here.
The wonder of the outdoors.
I know, right?
Imagine being in a hay shanty.
Ugh.
And he ended up purchasing more hay from Iowa, and that did tide them over. But they lost close to half of their livestock because all of their hay had been burned up.
That had to be a huge herd for
Yes.
that time period.
Yeah, over 100 heads. Yeah, those are my little tidbits.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do you
wow
know-
me.
Do you know what a leather tosser is?
No.
In 1942, the leather tossers of Albert Lee District were putting the finishing touches to their training day in preparation for the opening of the 3rd annual Junior Chamber of Commerce Golden Gloves Tournament.
Whoa, wait, like fighting?
Like boxing.
Cool.
Tommy Jackson was the district Golden Gloves middleweight champion in 1942. 3rd championship in 3 years.
Wow.
His name was Byron Thomas Jackson, born March 30th, 1920 in Nebraska. His parents and family moved to Freeborn County in the 1930s. He was inducted into the Army 2 days after winning the championship in 42 and discharged April 20th, 1945. He worked for Wilson's and Company.
Oh, cool.
So he had 3 successive years, and some of these are really fun little blurbs. The number of boys who fought in the novice tournament will be on hand for a whirl at Golden Gloves competition, while such veterans as Tommy Jackson and Howard Neist of Albert Lee, Jackie Graves and Harold Gomer of Austin, and Dwayne Horn of Heartland, Howie Jensen of Clark's Grove will be around to see what the newcomers get a warm welcome.
Aww.
Red Johnson, the Heartland Buzzsaw,
Nice.
whose willingness to mix it made him a prime favorite with the fans last year. He's another veteran who signed up.
Cool.
Tommy Jackson showed that he still packs a large load of dynamite in his trusty left hand by trouncing Ray Savigny of St. Paul. Jackson, who incidentally made a big hit with the Rochester crowd, drove repeated lefts to Svegny's head and solar plexus, putting the St. Paul boxer on the canvas twice. Svegny, by hanging on for dear life in the last round, managed to go the route.
Wow.
But Jackson won.
Is it common for boxers to be known for like a really good left hook? Because I always think if they're usually right-handed, their right arm would be like more. I
I don't know. I suppose it depends what you're comfortable with, right? You want to try it?
know.
I've done some Wii boxing. Might have to pull. I should have
Wii
brought the
boxing.
Wii. Have you not done Wii boxing?
I have.
There's another Upper Midwest Golden Gloves welterweight champion, Raul Donoso, graduated from New Richland High School. He began boxing at the Minnesota State Public School for Dependent and Neglected Children in Owatonna.
Wow.
The orphanage was scheduled to close in 1945, so all of the kids had to be placed for adoption. So they were struggling to find homes and get them located. And he ended up with a farmer who lived just east of New Richland, and eventually ended up with a pastor. By coincidence, this is out of the Albert Lee Tribune,
Okay.
at nearly the same time as Donoso's arrival, a former boxer also came to town, New Richland, and opened a shoe and leather repair shop in a rear business space of the former Hotel New Richland. Gene Mobley remained at the location for about 4 years. He let it know that he would train kids for Golden Glove, so it must have been a big thing in the county, right? You don't hear about it anymore, right? Kind of interesting.
That's another kind of leather maker with like the cobbler and the shoes.
That is. But that was a leather tosser, not a leather maker.
Oh, sure.
Because you could toss a leather shoe. So he ended up actually coaching Donoso, who was the only one who even had a little bit of experience. Which I thought that's a really cool, there's this Golden Glove tie-in, and the fact that we had Jackson, who was a champ, and just the Mobley coming to town and training a orphanage child from the orphanage museum,
From the actual orphanage. Well, and like boxing, I feel like I don't hear about boxing as much. Like we hear about wrestling now. I feel more so.
Or mixed martial arts.
Sure.
Mixed martial arts is. Yes, and as we were talking, you said the punch. You referenced the mixed martial arts.
Yep.
But it was around in boxing long before mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually did a little history digging today.
I'm so proud of you.
I did have help from Linda Evenson, the research librarian.
Always.
But I told her what I was looking for.
Yeah.
So
I like this.
it's growing on me.
Good.
Yes.
All right. Well, cheers.